Right now, millions of men over 60 are struggling with something they'll never discuss at dinner parties or mention to their closest friends. They're losing their ability to achieve firm, reliable erections, and they've been told it's just part of getting older. But here's something that might shock you. What you've been told about age-related erectile dysfunction is mostly wrong. The decline isn't inevitable, it's not permanent, and it doesn't require expensive medications or risky procedures to reverse. I'm Dr. Eva Hart, and for the past 14 years I've specialized exclusively in helping men over 60 reclaim their sexual vitality using nothing but their body's own natural systems. What I've discovered challenges everything the medical establishment teaches about male sexuality and aging. There are 3 specific points on your body, points you touch every single day without realizing their power, that when activated correctly can restore blood flow, eliminate performance anxiety, and trigger erections as strong as any you had in your prime. Tonight, I'm going to reveal exactly where these points are located, show you the precise technique for activating them, and teach you a simple 90-second routine that thousands of my patients now use before every intimate encounter. This isn't theory or wishful thinking. This is based on ancient pressure point knowledge combined with modern understanding of nervous system function. And unlike prescription medications, this approach actually gets stronger and more effective the longer you use it. In the next few minutes, you'll learn why your erectile problems aren't really about your penis at all. They're about blocked energy pathways that can be reopened with nothing more than gentle finger pressure. You'll discover why men over 60 actually respond better to this technique than younger men, and why the solution to your most private struggle has been literally at your fingertips this entire time. This is about more than just physical function. This is about stepping back into your power as a man, about refusing to accept limitations that were never real in the first place, and about discovering that your most satisfying intimate experiences might still be ahead of you. Stay with me, because what you learn in the next few minutes could change everything about how you experience intimacy for the rest of your life. And if you've been searching for real answers to restore your sexual confidence, type "show me" in the comments. Let me know you're here and ready to learn something that could transform your intimate relationships starting tonight. But first, let me explain why this works, because understanding the mechanism will help you trust the process completely. First point, CV6, the power center. Let me tell you about something that's quietly happening to most men over 60 that destroys their sexual confidence without them even realizing it. Your body contains an energy command center that controls blood flow to your penis, and it's been slowly shutting down for years. Most men have no idea this center exists. It's located just below your navel, and in traditional medicine it's called the Sea of Energy because it literally governs the circulation and nerve function of your entire pelvic region. Here's what happens as you age. Stress, poor posture, and years of neglecting this area cause energy to become stagnant right at this crucial point. Blood flow to your reproductive organs becomes sluggish, nerve sensitivity decreases, and your body gradually loses its ability to shift into full arousal mode when you need it most. But when you understand how to reactivate this power center, when you know the exact technique for sending wake-up signals through your nervous system, something remarkable happens. Your body remembers what it was designed to do. The mechanism is surprisingly straightforward. This point sits directly above a complex network of blood vessels and nerves that feed your entire sexual system. When you apply rhythmic pressure here, you're essentially telling your circulation, "Open up, let the blood flow where it needs to go." I remember working with David, a 71-year-old grandfather who hadn't been able to achieve a firm erection in over 3 years. His wife had stopped initiating intimacy, assuming he was no longer interested, when the truth was he was too embarrassed to explain what was happening to his body. During our consultation, David's biggest fear was that his problem was irreversible, that decades of diabetes and high blood pressure had permanently damaged his sexual function. But when I showed him this simple point below his navel and explained how gentle activation could reawaken dormant circulation, something shifted in his expression. David began tapping this point for 1 minute each morning while visualizing energy flowing through his core. The technique is simple. Place 3 fingers horizontally below your navel, find the most sensitive spot, and apply gentle rhythmic pressure while breathing deeply and slowly. Within 10 days, David experienced his first strong erection in years. But more importantly, he felt alive again in a way he thought was gone forever. "It's like someone turned the lights back on in a room I thought was permanently dark," he told me. The natural solution doesn't involve forcing or straining. It's about gentle invitation, about coaxing sleeping circulation back to consciousness. Your masculine energy hasn't disappeared, it's just been waiting for someone to show you where it lives and how to wake it up. This point responds best to consistent, intentional activation. 1 minute of focused tapping while breathing deeply can create changes you feel immediately, but the real transformation happens when you make this a regular practice. But awakening your core energy is just the beginning. Because even with perfect blood flow, there's something else that can sabotage everything in seconds, and it's connected to a part of your body you'd never suspect has anything to do with sexual function. Second point, K1 bubbling spring. I've noticed something troubling in my years of practice that explains why so many men over 60 struggle with erections even when their circulation is perfect. Their nervous system is stuck in permanent stress mode, and they don't even realize it's happening. Countless men tell me the exact same story. "Dr. Hart, my body seems ready, but the moment intimacy begins, my mind starts racing with worry and everything shuts down." They're describing what happens when your nervous system can't shift from daily stress into sexual receptivity. For 60, most men are carrying decades of accumulated tension. Their fight-or-flight response has been activated so frequently for so long that it's become their default setting. Problem is, sexual arousal requires the exact opposite state: deep relaxation and nervous system calm. Your feet hold the solution to this problem, and it's more powerful than any anxiety medication ever created. There's a specific point on each foot that acts like an emergency brake for your stress response system. K1 point, located in the center of your foot sole just below the ball, is connected directly to your parasympathetic nervous system, the part responsible for rest, relaxation, and sexual function. When you stimulate this point correctly, you can shift from stress to calm in less than 30 seconds. The medical explanation involves your vagus nerve, which runs from your brain through your entire body and controls your relaxation response. Pressure on the K1 point activates this nerve, immediately reducing stress hormones and allowing blood to flow freely to sexual organs. But there's something deeper happening here that goes beyond physiology. Many men have become disconnected from their bodies over the years, living primarily in their heads. Touching your feet brings your awareness back down into your physical foundation, literally grounding you in your own strength. Research confirms that foot pressure point stimulation affects heart rate variability, cortisol levels, and blood pressure, all crucial factors in sexual performance. But beyond the science, there's something profoundly masculine about grounding yourself before intimate moments. Here's the natural approach that works. Locate the K1 point where your foot feels most sensitive, usually right in the center below the ball. Using your thumb, apply firm, steady pressure for 15 to 20 seconds per foot while breathing slowly and deeply. Many men describe an immediate sense of calm washing over them, like someone just turned down the volume on mental noise they didn't even realize was there. Others feel a warm, stabilizing sensation that seems to anchor their entire nervous system. The emotional trigger is powerful because this technique puts you back in control. Instead of hoping your anxiety won't interfere with intimacy, you have a tool to actively create the calm, centered state that makes great sex possible. One patient described it perfectly. "My feet became my foundation. No matter how nervous I felt, 30 seconds of pressure on those points and I was back in my body, back in the moment, ready for whatever came next." But there's still one more element that determines whether everything works together or falls apart, and it happens in the most unexpected place, right at the top of your head. Third point, GV 2000 meetings. Here's what most doctors won't tell you about the real cause of erectile dysfunction after 60. It's not happening in your penis, it's not happening in your blood vessels, and it's definitely not about your testosterone levels. The real problem is happening in your head, and I don't mean psychological issues. Medical professionals have been approaching male sexual dysfunction all wrong for decades. They treat it like a mechanical problem: increase blood flow, boost hormones, fix the plumbing. But they're completely missing the most crucial component: your brain's ability to coordinate sexual response. The very crown of your head sits a pressure point that traditional medicine calls the 100 meetings because it's where nerve pathways from your entire body converge. Modern doctors ignore this point completely, yet it controls more of your sexual function than any prescription drug. Truth is, most men over 60 are walking around with what I call neural interference, decades of stress, negative sexual experiences, and performance anxiety that create actual static in the nerve signals between your brain and your sexual organs. This interference doesn't just affect your mood. It physically blocks the electrical impulses that trigger and maintain erections. It's like trying to make a phone call with a bad connection. The equipment works fine, but the signal keeps cutting out. I discovered the power of this point through working with a patient who had perfect circulation, normal hormone levels, and strong desire, but couldn't maintain an erection for more than a few minutes. Traditional medicine had no explanation and no solution. When we started working with the GV20 point at his crown, everything changed. Within 2 weeks, he was experiencing erections that lasted as long as he wanted, not because we fixed anything physically, but because we cleared the interference that was disrupting his body's natural response. Practical solution involves activating your brain's reset mechanism. Using your fingertips, apply light, rhythmic tapping to the very top of your head for 20 to 30 seconds while breathing deeply. Focus on each tap and imagine any mental noise simply dissolving away. What happens next surprises most men. Instead of the usual mental chatter during intimate moments, the performance monitoring, the anxiety about failure, the constant evaluation, there's simply presence. You become fully in your body, fully in the moment, completely available for pleasure. This isn't about meditation or relaxation techniques. This is about activating a specific neurological pathway that allows your sexual response system to function without interference from stress, worry, or past disappointments. One patient told me, "For the first time in years, I stopped thinking during sex and started feeling. It was like someone cleared the static from a radio I'd been trying to tune in for decades." If you're reading this and it resonates with you, type plus in the comments. It's important for me to know that this information is helping you. The GV20 point completes the circuit created by the first 2 points. You're awakening energy from below, grounding anxiety from beneath, and clearing interference from above. It's a total system reset that prepares your entire being for intimate connection. Complete 90-second sequence. Now comes the moment where everything I've shared transforms from interesting information into life-changing practice. Because the real power of these 3 points isn't in using them individually, it's in combining them into one flowing sequence that shifts your entire internal state from everyday consciousness to sexual readiness. I've noticed something troubling in my years of working with men over 60. They approach intimacy like it's an emergency situation instead of a natural transition, and this urgency actually prevents their bodies from responding the way they want. Sexual arousal after 60 isn't like flipping a light switch, it's more like slowly turning up a dimmer. Your body needs time to shift from daily stress mode into receptive, responsive mode. When you rush this transition or skip it entirely, you're asking your nervous system to do something it simply cannot do. The complete sequence solves this by creating a bridge between your ordinary state and your sexual state. Instead of hoping your body will suddenly respond, you're actively guiding it through a step-by-step transformation. Here's exactly how it works. You begin with a CV6 point below your navel, spending 30 seconds awakening your core sexual energy through gentle tapping and deep breathing. This activates circulation and sends signals throughout your pelvic region. Next, you move to both K1 points on your feet, applying steady pressure for 30 seconds while continuing to breathe slowly. This grounds your nervous system and shifts you from stress mode into calm, receptive mode. Finally, you complete the circuit with 30 seconds of light tapping at the GV20 point on your crown, clearing any mental static and creating the presence necessary for deep intimacy. The entire sequence takes just 90 seconds, but in that time you're accomplishing something remarkable. You're shifting your autonomic nervous system, optimizing your circulation, and creating the internal conditions where sexual response becomes natural and reliable. What's beautiful about this practice is how it becomes a ritual of self-respect and preparation. You're not rushing into intimacy hoping for the best. You're taking conscious control of your body's readiness and creating space for pleasure to unfold naturally. Many of my patients have incorporated this into their relationship dynamic, with partners learning to give each other space for this preparation or even participating in the process together. It becomes an act of mutual care rather than individual anxiety management. Key is approaching this sequence with reverence rather than desperation. You're not trying to force your body to perform. You're inviting it to remember its natural capacity for arousal and satisfaction. Everything you need to reclaim your sexual confidence is now in your hands. 3 pressure points, 1 simple sequence, and the understanding that your body's capacity for firm erections hasn't disappeared, it's just been waiting for the right activation. The CV6 point awakens your sexual energy. K1 points calm your nervous system. The GV20 point clears mental interference. Together, they create a complete system for natural erectile restoration that works better than any medication because it works with your body instead of against it. But more than technique, you've discovered a new relationship with your own sexuality. This isn't about desperately trying to recapture something lost. This is about stepping into a mature understanding of intimacy where presence matters more than performance, where connection trumps function. Your masculinity can be restored naturally. Your body is still designed for pleasure, passion, and deep intimate connection. It just needs the right signals to remember how to respond. Start tonight. Give yourself these 90 seconds before any intimate moment. Be patient with your body as it relearns. Notice not just physical changes but emotional ones, the return of confidence, the decrease in anxiety, the increase in genuine excitement about intimacy. This practice becomes more powerful over time as your body learns to associate these points with arousal and satisfaction. What begins as conscious technique evolves into natural response. If this video gave you hope, practical tools, or a new perspective on what's possible for your intimate life, please like it and share it with someone who needs this information. Your engagement helps more men discover that sexual vitality after 60 isn't just possible, it's your birthright. Leave a comment sharing which point you're most excited to try, or simply type "ready" if you're going to start this sequence tonight. I read every response, and your feedback helps me create content that truly serves men who refuse to accept unnecessary limitations. Subscribe for more natural approaches to men's health over 60. Your story of strength, vitality, and intimate connection is far from over. The most satisfying chapter may be just beginning. What you're feeling right now isn't just hope. It's the beginning of returning to your true self. This isn't the end of your story, but a new chapter where you feel alive, desired, and confident once again. Your body remembers how to respond. Your confidence is already close. The only question is, are you finally ready to unlock what has always been yours?